Hi there, this is Michael Bovee with ConsumerRecoveryNetwork.com, and I want to continue on with an additional video in our debt settlement series, and actually one of the most important ones. What you have to do to actually document a settlement. And make no mistake, you absolutely have to have these settlements documented because they can come back to haunt you in a big way. What happens when you negotiate and settle a debt, we've talked about in prior videos, you have to do this over the phone. You can't just send off a letter and expect the collection agency or the bank, the collection attorney to respond to these things. It's outside the norm. They're not going to do it. They're almost the rarest of exceptions. So everything starts on the phone, but what about when you've got it all worked out? You've got this meeting of the minds. The bank agrees, the collection agency agrees to a certain amount, and it's something you can do and afford. You need to memorialize that in a letter. And these are very common letters that these agencies, collection, banks, attorneys, they use them over and over and over again. In fact, it's a template and they just insert your particulars. Sometimes on the screen with your file, they can click a button and generate a letter. So they're very common and they have templated language. Some of that language is there to protect them and some of it's there to protect you. There's some key items that you need to look for. You need to be identified. Your account needs to be identified. The terms, meaning you don't have to show what you owed or the full balance necessarily, but oftentimes that will appear. But also you need to see that this is what they're agreeing to accept. And those dollars, that dollar amount spelled out. Any terms for the payments, so if it's spread out over any more than one lump sum payment, like 2 payments, 3 payments, even 12 payments, that has to be in the document. And the date with which that payment is due or the lump sum is going to be received. And the fact that you are settling this debt, that you're not paying it down. You need some kind of verbiage in these letters that says that you're paying this off, that this is deemed settled, that there is no remaining balance owed. Behind me, on one of the pages of the ConsumerRecoveryNetwork.com website, is a results page. And we've put these up there. There are about 20 of them. If you click any one of these links, you can see examples. We've purposely put examples up there of settlements from debt collection agencies, debt buyers, banks, and attorneys. So you can see a mixture of what a settlement letter looks like. We've sanitized them without our clients' information on them. So take a look at some of these letters. Use them as a template for something that you're going to look for in your settlement efforts. Obviously, if you're working with a professional, somebody like Consumer Recovery Network or another debt settlement, debt negotiation professional, you want to make sure that you get copies of all letters. Do not take for granted that somebody is always going to be representing your best interest or storing that information for you. You need a copy of these things because what happens if somebody disappears? You need that letter. That letter, by the way, is what you use to beat somebody over the head with if that debt comes back to life again. Not often, or certainly not with any malicious intent, but accidents do occur. We're all human, we make mistakes. If a field wasn't checked off on a computer screen or what have you, your debt after you settled it might get included in a bunch of other debts that weren't settled, and in this portfolio of, let's say, 999 accounts, yours is the 1,000th, and it's sold off to a debt buyer. This is very common. Debts get sold off all the time. If your debt was settled and inadvertently included in that, you could begin to get collection calls from a debt collection agency, even have your account placed with an attorney. You start hearing from them and you're like, whoa, I've settled this account. Well, prove it. And you need that proof. So what are you going to do? You're going to have a settlement letter, doesn't matter who settled the debt, you or somebody else, and keep it in a safe place along with copies of any proof of your payments, whether that's from bank statements or a check or a cashier's stub, whatever the case may be. Keep all of that information, and you're going to want to keep it for a couple of years. This is just a caution. Again, it's very problematic to go back and clean something like this up without documentation. Debt settlement letters are exceptionally important. Make sure you heed this warning and gather up all your information, store it in a safe place.